What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. We are here today for a special video. It's a Sunshinery Reactions video. We are going to be talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac's Karen Hugger and the body cam footage that was released from her DUI and her being found guilty on 5 of the 6 charges stemming from her March car crash in Potomac, along with the sentencing that is coming up on January 29th, where she could be looking at up to 2 years in jail. So let's buckle up. Let's keep it safe over here. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're not yet subscribed, and make sure your notifications are set to all so you can get notified every time I post a video or go live. So back in March of this year, Real Housewives of Potomac star Karen Hugger was involved in a high-speed crash, resulting in the total loss of her luxurious 2017 Maserati, where it was reported that she was driving in an aggressive manner when the accident transpired. Now, the police said that Karen's vehicle had collided with a median and a crosswalk sign, and it was at an intersection before ultimately crashing into a parking sign off the roadway. Now, at the time, the police did not provide specific details regarding just how fast she was going, but a spokesperson did indicate that she was traveling too fast for the conditions. Now, the impact of this crash was substantially enough to trigger the deployment of airbags in Karen's vehicle. There were no passengers present in the car at the time of the accident, and no other car involved but her own. The Maserati was reported severely damaged to the extent that it was rendered undrivable, and it needed a tow truck to be removed from the scene. Now, during this trial that she had, they presented testimony and body cam footage presented to paint Karen more in a vivid picture during this incident. There was even an emergency medical technician that testified that Karen was swayed on her feet, refusing treatment, and verbally lashed out at first responders. Now, because the trial had just happened and the evidence was put out there, we now have the body cam footage to look at. So I did want to go over this with you all, so let's get right into the body cam.
We're going to get you on there. Right here, man. Right here. Good favor, get up. Yeah, we're just going to check you out. Yeah. Just check you out in the ambulance.
You want to walk? All right, we'll let you walk. And then we'll...
Yeah, okay.
We'll walk. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So just keep going. I know. Yeah. Do you need family call? I need my husband. All right. Let's get you in the ambulance.
I'm Officer Baxter County Police. Just let you know everything's being video and audio recorded at this point, all right? You can go...
No, it's not okay.
Well, it has to be.
Cut it off now.
No, I can't. You can go with them. I'm not
That's
allowed.
good. I'm like this.
So first, I just want to say, when I first started making this video, I was not sick. I got sick, and here we are now. Also, this is a new microphone, so let me know down below how I sound. Now, she is drunk AF. I did not see the waddle that everybody was talking about to the ambulance, but we will see how she treats these paramedics, considering that was one of the things that came up in trial. And her telling the cop that he needs to shut his body cam off? Girl, no, they can't.
Right on this side. Yep. I saw you holding your side. Has anything hurt there?
I said no. Oh, I was just going to... I went,
Okay. Ma'am, how are you? Just so you're aware, we all wear cameras to record audio and video, okay?
I don't give
Okay. I need to see her driver's license.
Okay.
No.
Karen.
Okay.
Hold on.
Hey, sir, sir, she's not free to leave.
I understand.
Okay.
No, I am. No, Ray, I am.
Get your
I
bag.
am, Ray. I'm
Get your
you.
bag here.
I'm you. And
Hold it.
he's-
Hold it, honey. Hold it.
I didn't do this. Just here. And no.
Okay. I don't know what this is.
Watch out, there's some bar phone up there.
Great.
So when the paramedics are walking her to the side, one of them does ask if she is hurt on her side because she's holding that area. She says no. And then they switch to a different officer, which he informs her as well that he is recording. And she says no, they don't have consent, though they do. And then they walk over to the car where she insists to her husband that she is free to leave, though the officers say that she's not. And then they want her driver's license, which apparently there's throw up all over her bag. Yuck. But this is where the questions start to get juicy, so let's get into it.
There's some throw up on it there.
Remember?
I think
You remember how to...
Okay, ma'am, can you get your driver's license for us, please?
No, you cannot.
Okay,
You ready?
Karen. Okay. Let me ask you a
She's
question.
not free to leave. Okay?
I understand this.
And
Okay. So
what
so
do
you're
you
saying
need to know? What do you need
Hold
to
on,
know,
hold on.
sir?
Let me answer his questions. And
No,
then
I am
no,
the person that was
Karen.
driving.
Okay, you were the
I
person
know
that was
what
driving. I understand that, but I need your driver's license. Can you get me your driver's license, please?
No.
Okay, why?
No, because I can't find it.
What?
Let's
Is
go home, darling.
I'll look for it.
Okay.
No,
Right,
right.
Ma'am,
Karen,
can you stop?
Karen.
Can you stop
You
for me,
were in an
please?
accident. There's no way to get around that.
Click clack behind the back, Karen. I mean, she even does not want to give her driver's license. And poor Ray is like, I will look for it. And she keeps asking to leave. And he's like, Karen, you got into an accident. There's no way around this. She's not listening. That is how drunk AF she is.
Ray, they drove me off the road there.
Who drove you? The people, somebody?
Yes.
Oh.
And that was not my
Where,
fault.
ma'am, where are you coming from? Let's start with that.
Where's your point?
Where are you driving from?
Why are you interviewing me?
Because you were in an accident and you appear to be impaired.
Well, I'm not. No, I appear, but
Okay,
I'm not.
that's right. That's
Are
why
you
I'm.
ready,
That's why I'm
honey?
asking
You
questions.
ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, no, ma'am,
wouldn't
you're not
touch
free
me.
to leave.
Honey,
You are not free to leave.
you can't go until we answer some
You
questions.
answer the question.
I'll answer the question.
You leave
Okay,
me
then
alone.
you stay
Okay.
right there then.
But you-
Okay, for me.
Don't
okay?
touch me.
All right, don't
Okay.
go anywhere then.
Don't touch me.
Karen, please.
Don't touch me.
I'm not touching you.
Listen, listen.
You good?
I'm good.
You have it?
I'm good, but you.
Your answer?
I will help you answer the questions. Okay.
I'll tell you this, it's not easy listening to her slurred words. But this is what happened just now. So she says, Ray, they drove me off the road. The cop then says, who drove you off the road? Was it somebody? Karen immediately says yes while she looks at Ray and then says, it wasn't my fault. I think this was more her saying it to Ray so that he wouldn't be mad at her. I don't actually believe there was another car involved. So then the cop says, where are you coming from tonight? Let's start there. Karen says, what's your point? He says, where are you driving from? She asks, why are you interrogating me? He says, because you were in an accident and you impaired to be impaired. Karen then says, I'm not, no. I'm impaired, but I'm not. Are you ready? To Ray. Are you ready? Let's go. As she tries to walk away, holding Ray's hand, he doesn't move, and the cops stop her. The cop says, you are not free to leave. You are not free to leave. Ray says, honey, you can't go until we answer some questions. Karen says, you answer the questions. Ray such a nice husband, says, I'll answer the questions. Karen says, can you leave me alone? The cop says, you stay right there then. Karen says, don't touch me. The cop says, don't go anywhere then. Karen then says again, don't touch me. Don't touch me. And then Ray says, Karen, please. Karen then says again, don't touch me. The cop says, I'm not touching you. Then she asks if Ray's good. Ray says, I'm good, I'm good. Karen says, do you have it? What do you have, Ray? And then Ray says, I will help you answer the questions. I know it's a little confusing because she's very drunk, but that is what I interpreted as everything.
Where's she coming from? Okay. She was visiting a friend. I guess it was to even call, you know, I guess, she's,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Karen.
Montgomery County Police.
I would rather,
Remember,
I
everything's
don't
being
like
video
her.
and audio
okay,
recorded.
so I'd rather
It's
her
okay.
not do a lot of talking at this point anyhow, because she's probably a little bit upset
Well, I'm
after
shook. I'm
the
shook.
thing, so she's...
Can I ask you where you're coming from tonight? Ma'am.
She said she was coming from a friend's house.
Okay. Which way were you driving on Oakland?
Where you have
You
it?
had to
Were you
come-
coming from Bradley?
You have it?
I'll take a look.
Yes.
You're coming from Bradley?
Well, wait. Wait, you see it? Yes. Thank you.
You were driving on Bradley or from Bradley? Do you remember the accident?
Yes.
Okay. What happened?
Actually, nothing really. Ray, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's just that somebody ran you off the road.
They did.
Someone ran you off the road? Okay.
Yeah.
You remember that vehicle at all?
No.
No, you don't? Okay.
Wait. I
don't-
wouldn't listen to that.
I understand it. It's dark out here. Yeah.
So as we come back, the cop asks where she's coming from. And Ray actually answers that she's was visiting a friend, and a lot of other mumbles after that. A new cop now shows up, and we go to his body cam. He says hello, and Karen introduces herself. And this is where Ray says, I would rather her not do a lot of the talking at this point, because she is probably a little upset after this. Yeah, I would think she would be a little upset. She's also a little drunk, too. So this new cop is very nice. He asks where she's coming from. She doesn't answer the cop. The other cop, though, does answer him and says that she was coming from a friend's house. And from there, this cop is now trying to figure out what direction she was coming in. Karen, of course, doesn't answer him. And then finally she says yes to him saying, did you come from the Bradley direction? And she kind of like makes a motion of which way she was coming from. Still not clear or concise to which way she was coming down the road. The cop also then asks, do you remember the accident? There's a very long pause before she says yes. Then the cop asks her what happened. And she goes, nothing really. Nothing really? You, hit the medium, a sign, and then stopped into a tree. That's nothing really. She then looks at Ray and says, can you hear me? I don't know if maybe he's a little deaf, but she thinks that he can't hear her. He's looking for her license the entire time. Now, from here, the old cop says, you said somebody ran you off the road. She says they did. The new cop asks, well, do you remember the other vehicle at all? And she says no. And he agrees that it's dark out here. I think you're helping her a little bit too much there, officer.
Are you okay?
Let me ask you.
He's okay, he's doing fine. Looking for your license,
No,
ma'am.
Ray, we don't need him to do anything.
Karen, hold it.
Karen.
I'm looking for your license, baby.
How much you drink tonight?
I'll give you my license if you
No,
want.
I
instead.
was out, but I'm good.
How much have you had to drink to? That's my question.
Looking to see if your license is in here.
Saying this is going to catch fire.
Not yet.
Bowles probably already put one on. He's right. Bowles is working on the acres report, so it's probably on there. If not, just have him at it.
Make sure he doesn't have it already.
I think Bowles does.
Does somebody have the license?
I think so.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think Bowles, one of my...
All right, I'll check.
Can you answer everything
Okay,
for me
okay.
first?
Right.
Thank you, God.
but
No, that were 2. Karen, how much you
No,
drink
I
tonight?
can talk to my husband.
Okay, can I
Talk
talk
to
with?
my husband.
Talk.
Yeah.
I can't talk to your husband. He's not really involved in
Okay.
this incident.
Right.
He can help me translate or get
No,
you to
he
cooperate.
is. He is.
Okay.
He is. You okay?
How much you had to drink
I'm-
tonight? How much
Ray,
alcohol?
are you good?
I'm good. I'm just saying, you know, they're assuming that you had more than you should have,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming that you know had like a couple of beers or something
Yes,
like
that's
that.
all I had.
But
Okay.
you know,
You had a couple of beers.
So, that's it.
that's my assumption.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know
What-
for sure. I wasn't with her.
Okay.
But
I know, that's why I'm trying
what
to communicate with her.
Yeah.
Now, I've watched a lot of body cams in my day, and these cops are being very pleasant to her. And she's lucky that she has not gotten click-clacked behind the back yet. But we come back with Karen trying to rip her wallet out of Ray's hands when one of the cops is saying he's fine, he's just looking for your license. Karen's like, I don't need him to do anything. This is where the cop starts to ask her, how much did she have to drink tonight? Karen first says, and it sounded like this, I walked out, but I'm good. That's not really answering the question. The cop again asks, how much did you have to drink? That's my question. She doesn't answer him. Now, the 2 cops are talking. At this point, it sounded like he said that the car was smoking, or did it catch fire? Then they start talking about another officer writing the incident report, and maybe he has the license. So one of the other cops says that he will go and check. But Ray does continue to go through the purse and look for it. The cop again asks, Karen, how much did you have to drink tonight? Karen says, I only want you to talk to my husband. Talk to my husband. The cop says, I really can't talk to your husband because he's not involved in this incident. He can help me translate or get you to cooperate. That he can do. Again, the cop says, how much did you have to drink tonight? Karen stares at the cop and then snaps her head back to Ray and asks Ray if he's good. This is where Ray says, they are just saying, they are assuming that you had more than you should have, and I'm assuming you had a couple of beers or something. And Karen says, yes, that's all I had. So she admits that she's been drinking right here. The cop says, you had a couple? Ray says, that's my assumption, I wasn't with her tonight. And that's then when the cop says, that's why I'm trying to communicate with her. I don't really think that this cop is going to get much from her, but we will see what happens.
What kind of beer did you drink?
Ray, were we good, sweetheart?
Yeah. I don't see your license here.
I think one of my...
Somebody got him.
Yeah,
Somebody
I think
got
my
it.
coworker has it.
Because the bag
Alright.
was right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so...
We needed to write an accident report.
Okay.
It's okay.
So-
So, Ray, darling, what
Yes.
did you say?
I'm saying that you probably had a couple of beers,
Yes,
and you're coming back.
Yeah.
And you said that you got run off the road.
I
And
did.
did you hit the tree here or something?
It looks like she hit the center median, came across the median,
I
and then,
did
yeah, hit this tree as well.
Okay, 'cause
or
it's
one of the...
dark.
Yeah.
Or hit the median, and hit the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray, can you pick my purse up,
It
though?
doesn't take much.
No, it doesn't. Sweetheart, can you speak to me, please?
Okay.
Hey, your car's on fire. Your car's on fire. Get away from your car.
My car?
Still smoking?
No, it's on fire.
This cop is really trying to find out how much Karen had to drink. So he asked her, what kind of beer did you drink? Karen doesn't even look at him. She just looks at Ray and says, Ray, are you good, sweetheart? I think she's trying to butter her husband up because she knows that she did wrong. And they continue to talk about the license, and the cop says, you know, I think somebody else got it because they need to write an incident report. Karen then goes, so Ray, darling, what'd you say? So then Ray says, I'm trying to say you probably had a couple of beers. Karen says, yes. And then Ray says, and you were coming back and you were saying that you got ran off the road. Karen says, I did. Ray says, did you hit the tree or something? The cop says, it looks like she hit the center median, came across the median. Karen says, I did that. And then the cop says, and hit the tree as well. Ray says it's dark, and he repeats the cop exactly what the cop says. She hit the median, then hit the tree. And then Karen says, Ray, can you pick my purse up there? Ray, can you speak to me, please? Karen, your husband is trying to help you. The cop says, your car's on fire. Your car is on fire. Get away from your car. Karen, very confused, goes, my car's on fire? Cop says, it's on fire.
All right. So, do you remember what kind of beer you had?
No, it's not intoxication. It's here.
Okay, but I got an investigation. I got to conduct.
I understand that.
some
Go ahead, Ray.
So,
Yeah, okay.
what kind of beer did you drink? Was it the
Stella.
Stella? Okay. Where at?
I think I sent it on my phone to my husband. I always do it.
Your location or where
Yeah.
you were?
Yeah.
I don't.
Wait.
Yeah.
My car's
No, don't. It's on fire. But don't go.
Karen,
Your car is on fire. You're not going over there.
wait. Can you go there?
get what?
Let the firefighters do.
Put it out.
Let the
That works.
firefighters, and then we'll get you whatever you need. Okay.
Are you okay?
I'm guessing that's your cell phone ringing.
Is that the phone?
Probably. It's on the passenger floor, but don't go over there right
Oh,
now.
okay.
All right.
What's your point?
My
Okay.
point is,
No,
I have
no.
an investigation to do as a police officer.
I
Okay.
respect
Karen,
that.
yeah, let them do this investigation. You had an accident, you know, just thank God you're not hurt bad or anything like that.
Can I
And
conduct
we
some
got-
field sobriety on you, ma'am?
And we'll make the
No,
best
sir.
of it.
No.
You cannot.
All right.
Yeah.
Are we good?
I think we could be good. We had an accident. You know, you probably did have a couple of beers. You didn't see the media.
No, I didn't
And-
drive the car either. And
Oh.
for them
I-
to hop out was
Huh?
incredible. The security you hired for me, but
I will say it's about to get good. So this is where the cop asks, what kind of beer did you have? Karen's like, what kind of question? What beer did I have? And the cop says, I have to do an investigation. I have to conduct, an investigation here. You got an accident, lady. Karen's like, oh, I understand now. Oh, you do? Then, Ray kind of talks to her. He says, they have to ask questions. He has to do this. The cop asks again, what kind of beer did you drink? She goes, Stella. Where at? The cop asks. Karen does not answer, but she abruptly turns to Ray and says, I set my phone to my husband. I always do. Cop was like, your location or where you were? Karen's like, wait, and she tries to walk away again, but thankfully the cops are like, no, it's on fire, don't go over there. Karen, your car's on fire, don't go over there. This is where Karen's like, breaking the law? Cop's like, to what? Then the other cop's like, let the firefighters put it out and we will get you whatever you need. And at this point, Ray is calling her cell phone, and the other cop is like, I guess that's your cell phone ringing. Probably. It's on the passenger floor, but don't go over there right now. Karen's like, what's your point? The whole time now, you'll hear Ray saying, Karen, Karen, Karen. Cop's like, the point is, I have an investigation to do as a police officer. Karen goes, I respect that. Ray's then like, listen, he has an investigation to do. You had an accident. I just thank God you were not hurt, dead, or anything like that, and we can make the best of this. Like a true gentleman. The cop says, can I conduct a field sobriety on you? Karen's like, no, sir, you cannot. Karen then looks at Ray and says, are we good? Ray's like, I think we could be good. We had an accident. You probably did you had a couple beers. You didn't see the medium, things like that. Karen's like, this is like where it's Mumble City, and I kind of got what she said. She said something along the lines of, I didn't drive the car anywhere. Mumble, mumble, mumble. Don't stop. Mumble, mumble, mumble. How about incredible? Does it occur to you how I'm feeling? Maybe. Does it occur to me how you're feeling? I think you're feeling a little drunk there, Karen.
So
my husband.
was he?
No.
Was he here?
I will talk to my husband.
You can talk to him, but you're not going anywhere.
I know what you will not do is tell me what I can't do.
All right, Karen, I want to play
Karen,
shot.
don't, please, don't.
Are you doing that?
Yep.
Why?
Because you wouldn't listen.
Well, because you're intoxicated.
My name is Karen. Can I have a tissue on my hand?
I don't have a tissue, ma'am.
Oh
I
my
do not
God.
carry tissues in my police car. But there will be.
God is
I will
good.
get you tissues at the
No,
station.
I don't need it. I'm not going to be very long, but I thank you for tonight. This has been good for my marriage, though.
Okay.
Do you know my husband?
I do not know your husband. I only
No, my husband has never stood up.
What?
I'm married 28 years. I think
Very
he
nice.
died. Oh, this is the most stunning thing I've ever done.
I told you it was going to get good. So, we start off with her saying, "Can I talk to my husband?" The cop was like, "No, was he here?" She's like, "I will talk to my husband." And then she turns her back to the cop. And the cop's like, "You can talk to him, but you aren't going anywhere." Karen's like, "What? You won't do it? Tell me where I can't do." You mean you can't tell me what to do? It's a little bit of slurring that's going on. Cop's like, "All right then, I'm going to place you under arrest." As then the cop starts to place her under arrest. You can hear Ray in the back going, "Please don't." Karen's like, "Why?" Ray's like, "'Cause." The cop is also like, "'Cause you're intoxicated." Now we go into the cruiser. First thing Karen asks is like, "Can I have a tissue?" He's like, "I don't have tissues, ma'am. I don't carry tissues in my police car, but I will get you a tissue." She's like, "No, I don't need it. I'm not going to be there very long. Thank you for tonight, though. This has been good for my marriage. Do you know my husband?" Cop's like, "I don't know your husband. I only met." And then she cuts him off and says, "No, my husband has never shot at," and then we get a little bit of mumbles, and the cop says, "What?" She's like, "I've been married 28 years. Cop's like, "Very nice." Then Karen's like, "This has been the most," and it sounds like stunning, but I'm not quite sure because it's very mumbled, "thing I've ever done." Well then, let's keep going if this is the most stunning thing you've ever done. Oh, and real quick, I do want to point out that this is not Karen's first DUI. She was arrested on similar charges 10 years ago for driving home intoxicated after dinner. Just want to throw that out there. We'll get into more after the body cam.
I hear Ray. I should have probably taken a cab.
You probably should have taken a cab, yes.
Thank you.
Or an Uber.
But I'm very rich. And sometimes they don't pay attention to you. Are you married?
I am.
You don't say you're married?
What's that?
You love her?
Yes.
I don't know how to love it. When you Google me, you're going to be so ashamed of yourself. I'm bad as fuck. I don't think I did anything bad except the driver.
Are you in basement door?
I'm just pretty. I have to bleed in my nose too in a minute. I always bleed. Can you give me a tissue?
I don't have tissues in my police car, ma'am. We will be at the station.
No, I'm a slave on this door. I just bought my slave plantation. I just wouldn't fuck with me.
Now, I do want to say, I realize I'm repeating back what is being said, but I feel like the context of what is being said is very important, and it's kind of hard to hear her and then grasp it all, at least for me. But literally, I've gone back 3 to 5 times on all of these parts just to understand what's being said, because she's so hard to understand. So I do hope that this is helping some of you too. So we go back to Karen, and she says, I probably should have taken a cab. The cop says, you probably should have taken a cab, yes. Karen said, thank you. And then the cop says, or an Uber. Karen then says, I'm very rich. And this is where she mumbles. I had some doing, I think she says, that don't pay attention to you. And then she quickly changes the subject to, "Are you married?" And the cop says, "I am." Karen is again mumbling and hard to understand, and she says something like, "Guilty of married?" At least that's what I heard. Even the cop was like, "What was that?" Karen then says, "Do you love her?" Which is clearly not what she said before that, but she asked him if he loved his wife. And the cop says yes. And then she says, "I don't have a lot of when you're going, where you're going, I'm going to be ashamed of yourself. I'm mad as fuck. I don't think I did anything bad except the driver." Wait, Karen, are you confessing to hooking up with a driver? Because I'm confused on this part. I think you might be, but I don't really know. Maybe she was confessing to driving intoxicated. Maybe. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Then she closes her eyes and she says, "I just praised." Maybe she means prayed. And then it turns into, "I have to bleed in nose too in a minute. I always bleed. Can you give me a tissue?" Which the cop says again, "I don't have tissues in my police car, ma'am. We will be at the station soon." Karen then begins to breathe crazily out of her nose. And here's another crazy mumble part. She's stepping up the mumbles here. And says, "I'm a slave owner's daughter. I just bought my slave owner's plantation in Surrey County." Now, I do believe I got this part down pretty well after listening to it about 10 to 15 times. And then it clicked finally that last December on season 8, episode 7, to be exact, Karen had opened up with Candace and NECA while driving home from a group outing that Karen had just bought her grandmother's house in Surrey County. And in that episode, she talks about how it took almost a year for her to get her Aunt Val to agree to selling her a piece of her land, and how they had settled on what to do with the property. And she mentioned how her grandmother's home was 104 years old, and it was certainly historical. She also said it was a warming, loving place, and she wanted to turn it into like an experience, maybe like a mini resort for tourism in Surrey County. And I will agree that this was a very important conversation that was had on The Real Housewives of Potomac regarding Black history, and it was an amazing thing that Bravo even allowed her that opportunity to talk about it, because sometimes they don't, let's be honest. And Karen did say also that she was excited to share her struggle and their victory with this. And Karen has, I will say, Karen has always been very open with her Real Housewives of Potomac fans about her family story. And I'm just glad that she had that moment, and it was more of a standalone moment in a conversation regarding it all. But now, back to the body cam. I will say they did cut something out here, because after she's heavily bleeding out of her nose, right? Breathing. They did cut something out because they are still in the cruiser, but it quickly changes her position, and you'll see it coming up as we start that she's now looking at the officer. It was very weird cut. I don't know what we missed, but let's continue.
He's not gonna let nothing touch me better than me. He's 600 million back.
He's what?
He's 600 million. He's not gonna let nothing touch me, but I don't want to be him. I want to be me.
Yeah.
So
You can always be your own self.
you have no idea. I didn't mean to do it this way. This is interesting though. You know my hands are cuffed behind me. I'm not really sexy. No, God is good. I will with my love and saving grace. I don't know what I'm supposed to say to you. Everyone thinks I'm the greatest person in the world. So I can do this. Do you know who I am?
I do not.
You do?
I do not.
Well, I'm the Real Housewives of Potomac. To call me the Grand Donna. I am 750 million debt free. Shaw with me. I've been married to him for
28 years.
yeah. I love him. I'm surprised he showed up.
Well, I mean, that's a good husband to show up when your wife's.
No, I don't need anybody. I'm fine.
No, but you don't necessarily need
What's your
any-
name?
My name's Kyle.
I'm Karen. Thank you. They call me the Grand Dame.
The Grand Dame.
I don't know what the fuck that's about. Andy Cohen did that. Go ahead.
The what?
Andy Cohen did that. They call me the Grand Dame.
So before we go over the part that we just watched, the previous part, I need to clear up something where I had a really hard time understanding what the hell Karen was saying, and I thought she said something like, I don't have a lot of, when you're going to be ashamed of yourself. I'm mad as fuck. I don't think I did anything bad except the driver. And that is where I question if she slept with a driver just because of what she said. Well, apparently, because I have been looking at articles to see kind of what they heard and also checking facts. But one article said that during that part, she said, when you Google me, you're going to be so ashamed of yourself. I'm bad as fuck. I don't think I did anything bad except for the driving. I still hear driver when I listen to the part, but that actually sounds more realistic, and maybe that's what she said, but how the hell did they understand her? Seriously, because I'm having trouble understanding her, and the closed captionings that I do have, they don't understand her either. She's very much slurring her words, and it's very hard to understand. But let's move on to the part that we just watched. So Karen starts off by going, he's not going to let anything touch me. He's better than me. He's 600, but I'm paying him back. He's 600 million. He's not going to let anything touch me. But I don't want to be him. I want to be me. And let's be fair here, Karen. You're a little drunk. Ray's net worth, according to the internet, is 40 million, not 600 million. And her net worth is only 10 million. So yes, he's definitely higher of a net worth than she is. But maybe she knows something we don't know, and they got some offshore accounts. I'm sorry, I'm putting conspiracy theories out there, and I shouldn't do that. So the cop just says yes to that part, and Karen goes, and the cop says, you can always be yourself. Trying to help her out. Like, you can always be yourself, Karen. It's all good. And then Karen's like, you have no idea. I didn't mean to do it in this way, boss. I think she's getting confused now. And then she says, this is the interesting part. Do you know my hands are cuffed behind my back? I'm always sexy. And the cop laughs. And then she says, no, God is good. And then she mumbles something like, I love saying grace, though. Or it kind of also sounds like I love my grandson. Or maybe it sounds like I love my son Grayson, but she doesn't have a son named Grayson. I really don't know what she said in that part. If you guys know, let me know down below. Like I said, it's not easy decoding her slurred words. And I'm literally listening to this part, every part that I do for you guys, over and over and over and over again, and I still can't get it. Some of these things are just too hard to understand. But anyways, so she goes on to saying, I don't know what I'm supposed to say to you. Everyone thinks I'm the greatest person in the world, so I can do that. And then she quickly looks at him and says, do you know who I am? And the cop says, I do not. She goes, you do? The cop says, I do not. He emphasizes the not. And then Karen's like, I'm the girl hustler. What you mean? Call me the Grand Dame. I'm 750 mil debt free. That's what I heard, at least. And then she says, and the man that you saw with me, I've been married to for... Then she starts to think, because she doesn't realize how long she's been married. And the cop answers her, 28 years? And she kind of looks at him like, how the fuck do you know that? But then she's like, yeah, I love him. I'm surprised he showed up. And the cop says, well, I mean, that's a good husband that shows up when his wife, and then Karen cuts him off, of course, abruptly, and she screams, no, I don't need anyone. I'll be fine. And then the cop's like, no, but you don't necessarily. And he gets cut off again by Karen. And she says, what's your name? And the cop's like, my name is Kyle. And then Karen's like, I'm Karen, Kyle. Thank you. They call me the Grand Dame. And the cop's like, the Grand Dame? And she's like, I don't know what the fuck that's about. And he laughs. And then she says, Andy Cohen did that. Go ahead. And the cop's like, the what? She's like, Andy Cohen did that. He called me the Grand Dame. And that's where we left off. Which, it's not true. At least from what I know about the Real Housewives of Potomac. And also, Giselle confirmed that she was the one who gave Karen the nickname, and it's stuck since season 1. And Karen has since taken it to a whole different ball game, even naming her daughter as the baby Grand Dame during a BravoTV.com exclusive interview that they did. And Giselle actually has a clip from BravoCon 2023 that I want to play you guys really quick about how she was the one who gave Karen the nickname and that she also has the right to take it back. And as soon as that clip is over, we're going to go right into the next body cam part. So let's look at that now.
Now, Karen gave y'all the nickname Green Eyed Bandits. Do you guys like that nickname?
No, she did not. Karen has never come up with the name.
Who came up with that nickname?
I think it was Monique. No, I think it was Monique.
I thought it was me.
Does anyone know? I think it was Monique.
It was me.
It was Giselle.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, then you must love it.
Yes.
It's
For
a
the
great name.
record, thank you, sir, with glasses on up there. Thank you. I typically come up with the names. I came up with Grand Dame. So if I take Grand Dame away, I can do that.
Yes.
I came up with the Green Eyed Bandits. She came up with Reasonably Shady, though. That was her, which
Yeah.
I feel like is genius. So, yes, we like it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love it.
Austin and Craig, what would you guys like to be called? The Brown Eyed Bros?
Brown Eyed Bros is kind of cool.
I love Brown Eyed Bros.
That's a great alliteration. I like
Yeah,
it.
you can have it. You can totally have it.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Kate.
I'm black, I'm rich, and I own the plantation in front. And you. What you do is great, that's white. Don't hit me because I'm arrogant. I meant that truthfully. So what I do, I just be quiet when I go ahead. Because they fuck with me. I am not broken.
You asking me like what you need to do?
A little bit.
We're just gonna go do some paperwork, and then your husband will probably come pick you up.
No, I can get out on my own, right?
Well, you need a safe
I
sober.
don't.
You need a sober ride home.
I'm not drunk.
You're hammered. You're right. You're
What the fuck? What's your name?
Kyle. Already told you that.
I'm really rich.
That's okay.
Alright, so I just need to say I'm hammered and get a car.
You need to get a safe ride home here in a little bit. So most likely your husband will be at the station to pick you up.
I don't like him. I've been married 20 years. Your point, how long have you been married?
2.5.
Are you happy?
Yep.
You should be happy. You take care of that woman, okay? You be good to her.
I try.
No, you better be fucking good. You don't know me. I'm Black White Cherokee. And I'm Tom Simpson. Concubine. Everybody on Bravo's show knows that. But do you know who I am? This is never going to touch me.
I know your name is Karen.
Well, I am the Real Housewives of Potomac. I'm a Grand Dame, and I'm really glad you guys stopped.
We didn't stop you. You wrecked.
So we return back to the body cam at a very interesting part. Karen says, I'm black, I'm rich, and I own a plantation. And you? what you do to this great country that's white? When I go here, cuz, and then she has a very high-pitched sound, please fuck with me. I'm not broken. And the cop's like, are you asking me what you need to do? And she's like, a little bit. And the cop then goes, we are going to go do some paperwork, and then your husband will probably come pick you up. And she's like, no, I can get out on my own, right? And the cop's like, well, you need a safe sober. And she interrupts him. And she's like, I don't. And the cop's like, you need a sober ride home. And she says, I'm not drunk. I would disagree there too. And the cop's like, you are hammered. You're right. And then she cuts him off and says, what the fuck? What's your name? And he says, Kyle, I already told you that. And she says, I'm really rich. Why does she keep trying to let him know that she's really rich? That's not good, Karen. But I digress. The cop then says, that's okay. And she says, okay, all right. So I just need to say I'm hammered and get a car? And he says, you need to get a safe ride home here in a little bit. So most likely your husband will be at the station to pick you up. And she's like, I don't like him. And the cop's like, well. And then she's like, I've been married 28 years. Your point? How long have you been married? And the cop's like, 2.5. Then she asks, are you happy? And he's like, yep. And then she's like, you should take happy. You take care of that woman, okay? You be good to her. And the cop's like, I try. And she's like, nope, you better be fucking good. You don't know me. I'm black, white, Cherokee. She laughs. And then she says, I'm Thomas Jefferson's concubine. Everybody on Bravo's show knows that about me. Do you know who I am? This is never going to touch me. I digress there too, Karen, because it clearly has touched you in probably the worst way possible, because you're looking at 2 years right now. But let's keep going. The cop says, I know your name is Karen. And she says, well, I'm the Real Housewife of Potomac. I'm a grande dame, and I'm really glad you got stopped. She's really glad he got stopped. And he says, we didn't stop you. You wrecked. And that's where I cut it off, because we had a lot to talk about right now. Especially her claiming that she's Thomas Jefferson's concubine. Now, I did pull up an article from Distractify, which is a wonderful place to read all about entertainment, influencers, TVs, all of that. And I feel like I'm talking like Karen. Don't mind me. My words are just slurred because I'm listening to her. I swear it's a force of a habit now at this point. And they had a lot of great points, though. So that's why I wanted to pull this article up so we can look at it together. But this is the part of the article, though, that I want to talk about because it's the part that we just listened to. And they said, Karen didn't add any context as to why she considered herself the late president's concubine, and the police officer didn't ask any questions on their part. However, the declaration was unexpected to hear from the reality star, considering Thomas Jefferson died on July 4th, 1826, long before she was born. Now, the term concubine also means something that the grande dame typically wouldn't appreciate. Concubine is defined in the Cambridge Dictionary as a woman who, in some societies, lives and has sex with a man she is not married to and has a lower social rank than his wife or wives. The word has been used often in literary and artistic ways, though many have also referred to concubine as mistress. See, I was onto something. Maybe she did fuck that driver. I'm just kidding. No more conspiracy theories here on my part. Though, I did still think I hear driver when she says that. But anyways, let's get back to the article and get into a little bit of history here. Karen deemed herself Thomas Jefferson's concubine, came after she insulted the police officers targeting her because she's black, which I will have to stop here and say they never targeted her. If anything, they treated her very well and professional, and I don't know why the article even says that, but let's keep going. Throughout history, it's said that Thomas has had a concubine. I'm sounding like her, I told you guys. Concubine, his teenage slave, Sally Hemings. According to historical website Monticello, Sally had at least 6 children with Thomas, which reportedly occurred after the death of his wife, Martha, who was also Sally's half-sister, due to their father, R-ing, I'm not going to say the word, Sally's mother. It's unclear if she consented to her relations with the president, as female slaves did not have anonymity over their bodies and couldn't resist their own owner's advances. Now, this article also proved, I keep sounding like her, guys. This article also provided a YouTube video about a documentary on Sally Hemings from Real Black One YouTube channel, which I will link down below for you all to check out. I did watch it myself. I did find it very interesting, and it's a piece of history that honestly I knew nothing about. This is something that I don't think I even learned in school, and I can understand why, because I feel like these are things that we don't learn in school, and I get that it's a very hard conversation to have, especially if you're teaching high schoolers and you're talking about things like, you know, someone taking advantage of somebody because they don't have, you know, say over their bodies. It's a subject that most teachers probably do not want to get into, but it's still part of our history. So I get it's a very touchy subject, especially the fact that, like, her father are her mother and they were half sisters. I get it. But this is part of our history. And this is something that a lot of women, especially female slaves, did not have a say over, especially their bodies. And that, to me, is just outrageous, crazy, but something that we need to learn. And I say that because we need to learn these things so we can do better as a society. It's something that we need to know so that we don't reoccur these events, or we can learn from them to do better in everyday life. And it just kills me to hear that this is how our history was. And like I said, I don't think that it's not something we should teach, because I do think that it should be taught. But it's also something, like I said, we don't repeat it. We can learn from it. We can do better as a society. And we can also be thankful in the sense of how far we have all come in our society. That us women have rights. Black people have more rights. Everybody has more rights. And we've learned from the mistakes our fathers and fathers made. And who knew that Karen's DUI body cam would lead us to this conversation that we're having right now? I didn't think it would. But I am also thankful that we can have this brief discussion on it. And I also really encourage you all to please check out the link down below on Sally Hemings' documentary, because it was really good and they did a really great job with it. And like I said, it's something that I had no idea about and you might not have any idea about. And it's something we can learn and grow from as we learn. But let's get back to this messy body cam. Here we go, guys. Let's watch it.
Can you hear me? My people telling me, what did you say? We're there.
We're almost there, yeah.
I'm ready. Can I go home?
About an hour.
No, 30 minutes.
God.
Cut it down. Can you hear me?
Can I hear you?
I'm not talking to you.
You're not talking to me?
No. But don't you have your own private security? My husband, they call him like Bill Gates, is mine. Get me out of this car. It's mine. It's mine. See, when you love your wife. It's called loving. It's not love you. Can I get out?
Here in a minute.
Can you let me out very quickly? I don't want. Where the fuck are we?
In Bethesda.
Okay, where?
Downtown Bethesda.
Okay. I'm done. I have to get out.
Okay, we'll be out in a second.
How long is the process? No one's gonna stop me.
I told you, probably about an hour.
Not at all.
Okay.
You really like me, don't you?
I don't know you.
I know.
I don't have a problem with you. I just don't know you.
No, much you love me. Can I get out?
In a few seconds.
I hate this. My husband is 77. Can we just get out?
What's that? Your husband's 77 and you said 60 something?
I just turned 60. I've been married 30 years. Can we get out?
We're getting ready to park here in a second.
I love him very much. He's too old for this. Do you have my phone?
No, I think your husband has it.
Oh, fuck.
So as we move on to this next part, Karen starts off by saying, "My people follow me." What did you say? Are we there? And then the cop says, "We're almost there, yeah." She goes, "I'm ready. Can I go home?" He says, "In about an hour." "No, 30 minutes, she says. And the cop kind of is like, That's when the radio goes off. And Karen's like, "Can you hear me?" And the cop's like, "Can I hear you?" And she's like, "I'm not talking to you." I think she was actually talking to the radio. And the cop's like, "You're not talking to me?" And she's like, "No." And she laughs. And the cop's like, "Okay." And then Karen's like, "But don't you have your own private security? My husband, they call him the Black Bill Gates. He's mine. Get me out of this car." See, when you love your wife, it's called loving. The love you. Can I get out? And the cop's like, "Here in a minute." I love how the cop just doesn't say a thing to her this whole time. And then Karen's like, "Thank you. Can you let me out very quickly? I don't want... Where the fuck are we?" And the cop's like, "In Bethesda?" Karen's like, "Oh." And then we hear the radio again. And Karen's like, "Okay, where?" He's like, "Downtown Bethesda." Karen's like, "I'm done. I have to get out." He's like, "Okay, we'll be there in a second." And then she's like, How long is the process? No one's going to stop me." And the cop's like, "I told you, probably about an hour." Karen's like, "Not at all." And the cop's just like, "Okay." And Karen's like, "You really like me, don't you?" And he's like, "I don't know you." She's like, "I know." And the cop's like, "I don't have a problem with you. I just don't know you." And she is very mumbled, but she says, "Much love me. Can I get out?" He's like, "In a few seconds." And Karen's like, "Ugh, I hate this. My husband is 77. We can't get out?" And the cop's like, "What? Your husband is 77 and you said you're like 60 something?" And Karen's like, "I just turned 60. We can. I've been married 30 years. Can I get out?" And the cop's like, "We're getting ready to park here in a second." Karen's just like, I love him very much. He's too old for this. Do you have my phone?" And the cop's like, No, I think your husband has it." And Karen's just like, fuck. I don't know why she's like, oh, fuck. I mean, my boyfriend can get access into my phone anytime he wants, but maybe Karen can't, or maybe he can and she doesn't want him to see something. Oh, here I go again with these conspiracy theories. Let me stop. Let's go into the next part.
Your wife is your age?
What?
Your wife is your age?
Yeah, we're a year difference.
All right, can you unlock me now?
In a second.
Thank you. This is bullshit. This is very criminal.
804. I'm at 2D anyway. It's just 602.
I'm good. Give me a moment. Get it out.
In a second, ma'am.
No. Please. Could I? Can you move me? Yeah. I love you too. I love you very much. He didn't mean any harm. Okay. God bless you. Can you just get me out?
In a few seconds, ma'am.
I am irritated.
Okay.
Are they gonna lock me in a cell? This
No.
will freak my head out.
Yeah, you'll be alright.
Oh, I hope not. It's quiet. It's quiet. You know I hate you, right?
That's okay.
Can I get... Oh, wait. You know I hate you, right?
That's okay.
Oh, wait. Can you take this off?
I can't take the handcuffs off. We gotta go inside.
Everybody's gonna hate you, by the way.
What?
Do you know who I am?
I don't.
You've
told me your name is Karen.
No.
Let me help you up.
No, I did not. Oh God.
That's what I told
I'm
you.
lit.
Yes, you are lit.
Oh, can you?
That's why you're here.
No, not really, darling.
It is. Hold on, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I don't want you to fall like you just did.
I just saw it.
I know, because you're drunk. Let's go this way, ma'am. Do I know who you are? No. You've asked me to watch the step. Thank you.
And I'm walking up the street. He has a timer on. He's good. And I'll walk up the stairs. And I'm out there.
Careful.
I'm just having a night.
Careful.
We're good.
Okay. All right, just stand right here for a second. What's that? Come inside.
Alex,
Karen.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we finally made it to the end of what I call the Cruiser Chronicles. At least, you know, it was interesting for sure. But for whatever reason, Karen thinks her title, her being on TV, her being rich means anything to this cop. But let's go over the last of the Cruiser Chronicles. It had me dying laughing as I was listening to it over and over just to understand what the hell she was saying. And literally, the closed captioning had no clue either what she was saying. So, we start off with Karen, though, asking the cop, "Your wife is your age?" And the cop's like, "What? Your wife is your age?" "Yeah, we're a year difference," he says. She goes, "All right, can you unlock me now?" He says, "In a second." She goes, "Thank you." And then she says, "This is bullshit. This is very chronical?" "What?" And, of course, then the cop is using his cop lingo and he says, like, Kato 4, I'm at 2D something 602. And Karen's like, as he's talking, she's like, "Anyways, I'm good. Give me a moment." And then she screams, "Get out!" to the cop. Like, I'm sorry he's not moving fast enough for you. Do you realize you are handcuffed behind your back, lady, and you're lucky to be even in the passenger seat of his cop car? I digress, though. And then he's like, in a second, ma'am. And she goes, now, please. The please came after. She said now, and it was a long pause, and then it was please. And the cop's like, he gets out, he starts moving at his own pace, and she's just like, can you move me? Yeah, I love you too. And laughs, and then's like, I love you very much. Who is she telling that she loves? The cop? Oh, but it gets better, because she really doesn't love him. And then she's like, he doesn't mean any harm. Okay, God bless you. Can you get me out? And the cop's like, in a second, ma'am. And Karen's just like, I'm irritated. And the cop's just like, okay. Like, you could be irritated. That's fine with him. And Karen's like, are you going to lock me in a cell? This is going to freak my head out. And the cop's just like, you'll be all right. And she's like, oh, I hope not. You hope that you're not going to be all right? This is how you know you've had too much to drink. He closes the door. Now he's walking around the cop car. And at this point, she is still talking in the cop car to herself. And it's a lot of mumbling. This is where the closed captioning still had no clue what she said, and I barely could understand her. And I do know she said something about, it's quiet. Yeah, because the cop got out of the car and you have no one to talk to now. And the cop then finally comes around, opens the door for Karen, and this is when she says, you know I hate you, right? You just said you loved him twice and now you hate him? Girl, make up your mind. And he's just like, that's okay. He unbuckles her, and that's when we go to his actual body cam footage, no longer the cruiser cam. And she's just like, whoa, wait. Can you take this off? And he's like, no, I can't take the handcuffs off. We got to go inside. And Karen's like, everyone's going to hate you, by the way. Do you know who I am? Actually, Karen, I don't hate the cop at all. I think he was very nice, very polite. He didn't have to talk to you at all. And he chose to conversate with you and answer questions he didn't have to answer. I think you just never been arrested. I mean, listen, I've had my fair share of issues in my previous life. It's been a long time, at least like almost 20 years now. I didn't have a nice cop like you did. I can only wish that I had the cop that you did, or the officers, because they were all very nice to you, and I never had that. Let me tell you, Karen. So he's like trying to help her up, and she's just like, no, and he's like, let me help you up, and she's like, I do not. And then all of a sudden we get this, oh God, and then she's like, I'm lit. Which I guess she kind of like fell as she was trying to get out because she didn't want the cop to help her. And the cop's just like, yes, you are lit. And then Karen's like, can you? And then the cop's like, that's why we're here. And he's referring to like that she's lit. And Karen's like, no, not really, darling. Yes, really, darling. That is why you are there. You are lit as fuck, girl. And the cop's like, it is. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I don't want you to fall like you just did. And at this point, I can understand what he's doing. He's like kind of repeating what she says and reiterating what's going on for the body cam footage, which is very important, especially for court proceedings like hers, so that people can have a very well understanding of just how intoxicated she was. And she's like, I just fell out the car? And the cop's like, I know, because you're drunk. And she's like, no. And he's like, let's go this way, ma'am. And she's like, do you know who I am? Karen, no, he does not know who you are. How many times does he have to tell you? And he even says, I don't know who you are. You've asked me this. Watch your step. Watch your step. Thank you. Because they're like kind of now going around the car. And she's like, I'm walking up straight. And she says something else, and it's very hard to understand her. But think she says, like, after that, like, he's good, and I'll walk up these stairs, and I'm out. No, honey, you're not going to walk up those stairs and you're out. We have, like, at least 10 more minutes to go, and that, to me, doesn't seem like the amount of time that you were actually there. Then the cop's like, careful, careful, careful. And she's mumbling something at this point. Nobody can understand her. And she does say, we're good. I mean, you're good, not we're good. And the cop's just like, okay. Just stand right here for a second. Karen does whisper something to the cop, which I turned up every volume. I held those earbuds in my ears to try to figure out what she said, and I could not understand it. She was whispering like this so bad that I couldn't understand a word she was saying. I have a microphone, though. That's the difference. She didn't. And the cop was like, what was that? And we get no response from Karen. And then that's when the cop says, come inside, Karen. And Karen's like, yeah, thank you. And this is now where we get into the last part of the camera action inside the station and everything that we get to see with her getting booked and them asking her questions. And it's definitely going to be interesting. So let's get on with the body cam.
So we can get you home. My computer's going to read you this form, all right, from top to bottom.
I want my husband here.
Well, that's
Or
not...
my attorney.
Advice of Rights, Maryland Transportation, Article 16-205.1.
Okay. Just follow, listen along.
Or detained and reasonable grounds exist to believe that you have been driving or
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
This is the advice of rights pertaining to driving.
No, what I am is intelligent and probably black. So, you want to tell me what you're doing?
I placed you under arrest for driving under the influence of alcohol tonight, okay?
No, you did not.
I did. That's why you're in
You
handcuffs.
attempted to, but next.
That's why you're in handcuffs, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Well, I will be in handcuffs forever. I'm extremely
You won't be in handcuffs forever. Just a little bit longer.
I actually will not agree to anything you say.
I just need you to follow along right now, okay? I'll do my paperwork. You can follow along. My computer's going to read you this form from top to bottom, all right? After it's done, we'll discuss anything else, okay?
No.
All I need you to do is follow along.
Why don't we just skip to the end?
I can't skip it, unfortunately, okay?
Advice of Rights, Maryland Transportation, Article 16-205.1. You have been stopped or detained on reasonable grounds exist to believe that you have been driving or attempted to drive a motor vehicle under circumstances requiring that you have to submit to a test under Maryland Transportation, Article 16-205.1. In this situation, the law means that you must submit to a test to measure the alcohol concentration or drug or controlled dangerous substance content in your system.
Alright, let's do this. What do you do?
Suspension of your driver's license or driving privilege.
Can you quiet that?
No, it's reading you the form that's in front of you.
I do. No, that's such a fucking irritant. Poor white will just let that shit go. Do you want to listen? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I will rise up. I am who I am. So what do you want to ask me? Can we? I don't give a fuck. Do you want that black people?
I'm not asking
Do
you.
you want that black people?
Karen, I'm not
No,
asking you.
I'm really rich, and I will
won't-
stay
I
in
don't-
jail for a year or two because you just want that black
What?
poor white, black, green people. You want that black people?
It has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah, it does. It has everything. So
It
what's
actually
your
has
point?
zero to do with that. I don't
So,
get to make
I'm sorry.
how this happens.
All right, it's not you. I'm sorry. I'm extremely
computer's gonna
intelligent.
read you.
I am Thomas Jefferson's concubine.
The computer's
and
gonna
I
continue reading that
have
form.
the
All I
nature.
need you
Your
to do
point
is
is
listen.
what? No, what you need to do is tell me what you want.
All I need you to do is listen. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're finally inside the police station, and the cop has already been speaking when he turns on the cam, and he's saying, So we can get you home. My computer is going to read you this form, and Karen, of course, interrupts and says, all right, and the cop finishes by saying top to bottom, and then Karen says, no, I want my husband here, and the cop's like, well, that's not, and then Karen interrupts him again, and she says, or my attorney. Now, this is when the cop just starts playing the form for her, and the form is the Advice of Rights Maryland Transportation Article 16-205.1, which I Googled and I got it for us to check out. I will say there is a lot on this form. If someone is drunk or intoxicated like Karen was, they probably aren't going to comprehend or understand what the hell it's saying and meaning. I would hope that the person that is getting this form gets a copy of it. I don't see why the person wouldn't, but expecting someone that's drunk to understand this and then sign something, I can see that being a possible issue. And maybe they should give that person some time to sober up before going over this. Though Karen, as we can see, was in a hurry, and she wanted to be done with this from the second the accident happened. So I'm not sure if they did give her some time to sober up, or they were just trying to get her in and out because of it just being like a single car accident and not really any damage to anybody else or anything major. And that might be the circumstances. Here I am with my conspiracy theories. And I will also say she did ask, well, for her husband first, but she did ask for her attorney as well, which I would think her asking, they should have stopped everything right then and there, let her get in contact with her attorney, and she unfortunately would have probably had to wait for her attorney to get there and all of that, which, I mean, it's not clear if that's what would have happened either, but at this point, it would be that she wants her attorney, and they should have just stopped everything right from there and waited until she had her attorney. And I don't know if he's just ignoring the request or what protocol is, since every state is different too, but I do know there were multiple things that her attorney did try and fight for her, one being that she was never read her Miranda rights, and this might be something as well that he had fought for her. I don't really know. We don't have the transcripts of the court case as of yet. That is something that can be requested, and also depending on the state, it could also be denied if they so choose. Again, each state is different, each case is different, but I have dealt with many court cases in many different states and have had to request reports, transcripts of court records, all of that before to know it is something that can be requested, at least, if anyone chooses to do so. I do want to quickly look at this form, though, because I want you guys to just see a couple things on it. And the first part is what this whole thing is about. And it says, you have been stopped or detained, and reasonable grounds exist to believe that you have been driving or attempting to drive a motor vehicle under circumstances requiring that you be asked to submit to a test under Maryland Transportation Act 16-205.1. In this situation, the law deems that you have been consented to take a test to measure the alcohol, concentrate, or drug or controlled dangerous substance content in your system. You may refuse to submit to the test or tests unless you were in a motor vehicle accident resulting in the death of or life-threatening injuries to another person, which that does not pertain to her. So if she wanted to refuse to the test, she can. And I believe that she does refuse the test. We will get there, though. Now, it also has a couple of other things too, like if you refuse to submit to the test or if you submit the test and it results indicate an alcohol concentrate of 0.08 or more at the time of testing, your Maryland driver's license shall be confiscated and you will be issued an order of supervision and, if eligible, a temporary license valid for 45 days. The following periods of suspension shall be imposed against your license or privilege to drive in Maryland, and they give you a whole bunch of things in red. The first one being, if you refuse to submit to a test, your suspension shall be 270 days for the first offense and 2 years for a second, which I believe this is her second offense. I'm not sure if it was both in the state of Maryland, but I do know that she did have another DUI previous to this one. Now, if we go to the bottom of the red area, it says, if you refuse a test or take a test with the result of 0.15 or more, you shall be ineligible for modification of your suspension or the issuance of a restricted license unless you participate in the Ignition Interlock System program under Maryland Transportation Article 16-404.1, which is a completely different article than the one we are looking at right now. Now, there's a whole bunch of other things, like if they held a commercial driver's license, if they were operating a commercial vehicle. And we get to, if you are convicted of drunk or drugged driving offenses under Maryland Transportation Act 21-902, and the judge or jury finds beyond a reasonable doubt that you knowingly refuse to take a test or breathe arising out of the same circumstances an additional criminal penalty of not more than $500 or imprisonment for not more than 2 months, or both, may be imposed under the Maryland Transportation Article 21-902G, which is a completely different article as well. I don't know if these go for it because it's not the same article that we're looking at. It's a different code, but this is just something to take in and comprehend and understand like I did. And I mean, pretty much it goes over a lot. And this is why I say, like, someone that's inebriated or intoxicated or drunk as hell, having to listen to the computer just go over this form is a lot for somebody. And maybe, yes, her having her attorney there would maybe better understand this whole form that she's not going to sign or is going to sign. We're going to find out. And, you know, maybe that's what they should have let her do. I don't know if that is something that happened. We will find out because I have not gotten to the end of this body cam with you guys. So anyways, let's get back to what was going on. So the form is now being read out to her, and with this form starting to read, it gets so hard to understand some of the things that Karen is saying. Even the closed captioning is not picking it up. But Karen does say, "I'm sorry, I can't hear." And the cop says, "Okay, just follow, listen along." Now, the cop is moving around and the form is still reading, and it's, again, hard to hear her, but you can hear her then start screaming, "Stop that, stop that, stop that." And now she's moving the form all around and smacking the table because I think she's handcuffed under the table, so it's making noise because it is a metal table. And, you know, it happens. I get that. Karen does say, "I'm sorry, I can't hear." The cop says, "Okay, just follow, listen along." I think I just read that part again for us. I did. I'm getting so confused. This is like crazy. It's crazy. But the cop then says, "This is the advice of rights pertaining," and she cuts him off, "to driving under the influence." He does finish that, but where she cuts him off is at that part, and she says, "No, what I am is intelligent. and possibly black. You want to tell me what you are doing? And the cop says, I placed you under arrest for driving under the influence of alcohol tonight, okay? And she goes, nope. No, you don't. No, you didn't. And the cop says, this form, and it's really hard to understand because the form and him, he just says, I did that. That's why you're handcuffed right now. Karen said, you attempted to, but next. And the cop says, this is why you are handcuffed. Karen says, okay, I will be in handcuffs forever. I'm ensuring that. And the cop says, you won't be in handcuffs forever, just a little bit longer. And she loudly then says, I will actually not agree to anything you say. And the cop just says, I just need you to follow along right now, okay? I'll do my paperwork, and you can follow along. My computer is going to read you this form from top to bottom, all right? After it's done, we will discuss anything else, okay? Karen's like, nope. Cop's like, I just need you to follow along. Karen's like, why can't you skip to the end? And the cop's like, I can't skip it, unfortunately, okay? And the form starts again, but Karen says, I don't give a flying fuck. And the form keeps going, and she's mumbling something, and it's so hard to hear her. But I feel like I heard something like, I'm done with this shit. And then something about a person. Like I said, the closed captioning didn't even pick it up. So we don't really know what she said, but the form keeps going, and Karen leans over, and she tries to grab something, and the cop even says, don't touch it. It's not yours. And here Karen's like, it's not, but I'm extremely rich. I know you know, but you're a good person. All right, let's, and then she mumbles something. And the cop just says, just follow along. And Karen's like, nope, nope. Something like, I'm not following along. Again, it was hard to hear. And then she said something about advise me. And the cop's like, that's what I'm trying to do. And then Karen's like, can you quiet that? And the cop's like, no, it's reading you the form that is in front of you. And Karen is like, I do not. No, that's such a fucking irritant. People are poor, want quiet. I don't know what that is all about. That's what the closed captioning heard. And I did hear it after I saw it on the closed captioning. It was really hard to understand. And it gets even harder. Because then she says something like, well, just let that tip go back. What tip? What tip? And then she says something else before she says, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I will rise up. I am who I am. Do what exactly, Karen? Now I'm going to start questioning you because now I'm getting pissed because she thinks because she has money that she has to be treated differently and that she's like the exception to the rule, and it makes me so mad because she's not. She is damn fucking lucky, and I say that nicely, that she didn't kill someone behind the wheel that night, let alone hurt herself or anybody else. And her condescending attitude is insane to me right now. It literally only gets worse through this whole video. I don't get it. Maybe the true Karen's coming out that now that she is drunk. They say, you know, your true colors shine when you're drunk. Maybe it's true. Now, Karen says, can you put that away? Can we? I don't give a fuck. Now, again, hard to hear this part, but it sounds like, can you run that black people? Though the closed captioning says, do you want that black people? Which kind of makes sense because then the cop says, I'm not asking you. Karen cuts him off and says, do you want that black people? And the cop's like, Karen, I'm not asking you anything. And she's like, nope, I'm really rich and I will stay in jail for a year or two because do you just wonder, like, what poor people? And the cop's like, what? And she's like, poor, white, black, green people? Do you wonder that by people? And the cop's like, has nothing to do with any of that. And Karen's like, yeah, it does. Has everything. So what's your point? And the cop's like, it has zero to do with that. I don't get to make how this happens. And she cuts him off and she says, sir, I'm sorry. It's not you. I'm done. I'm extremely intelligent. I'm Thomas Jefferson's concubine and I can own half of the nation. What's your point? Which he's trying to talk to her at the same time, and he's saying something about, like, the computer is going to read you, you know, the form, listen, the computer. And Karen's like, what you need to do is tell me what you want. I wouldn't know if this is considered a bribe or not, but asking somebody what they want could be taken as a bribe, in my opinion. And the cop's like, all I need you to do is listen. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And Karen's like, yeah. And the cop's like, okay. And that is where we left off. So let's get back to the last of the body cam. We have like 8 minutes left, so maybe like 2 more parts. That's what I'm going to try to do for us. Oh, I can only imagine it probably gets worse. But let's take a look.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
If your test result is an
Could you not play that? That irritates me.
less than 0.15, your suspension shall be 180 days.
I'm not reading it. It's not in my face. I have a live video twice. Can I see it? Can I see it? Turn it to me. Can I see it?
It's literally.
Thank you. No, I mean, I just had, I wanted to record it that I just had my cataracts replaced. I am 60 years old, and I'm ready to stop. So, what is it want? Can you stop with all that? You can, but I can't hear it, and I say that.
Stop talking, you can hear it.
You hear me? No, I wouldn't speak to me that way, sir. Thank you very much. But I say to this recording, I cannot hear it, sir. So thank you.
I can turn it up and start it over.
Do you want to tell me what it's saying?
It's saying everything that's on this form.
Oh, that's
Listening
called
to that.
reading, and I have an attorney. So I need a moment for an attorney.
Do you know which attorney you want to talk to?
Yes. Can I get my phone back?
I don't have your phone.
I have several
Your husband.
attorneys.
Huh?
Can
Do you know the name? I can Google it and get you a contact number.
I get my phone back?
I don't have your phone. Your husband has it.
I know.
So I cannot give you your phone because your husband
I
has it.
have attorneys, and can I get my phone back?
I do not have your phone.
Well, so I don't have an answer for you yet.
Okay.
But I will report that accordingly. I think it's important.
Okay.
In your point,
Do you know your attorney's name?
I did.
What's your attorney's name?
I have several attorneys. I have 3.
Can you name
I don't know which one is the point, so.
Give us a name.
Why don't you tell me?
I don't know who your attorney is.
Thank you. So are we okay?
Yeah, we're okay.
Thank you.
Do you want me to play the form again?
No, I'm really good.
Oh, I have to at least get you through it once.
Oh, you did, sweetie.
No, we started it over because you said it
All
wasn't
right, you can start it again.
Rights, Maryland Transportation, Article 16-205.1.
You do this to dumb people, and they agree. This is how you do it.
So this next part starts off with Karen saying, I appreciate that, thank you. And then we hear the form continuing to read out what it says. And Karen, of course, says, can you not play that? That irritates me. The cop at this point just doesn't answer her and lets the form keep reading through. Karen's like, I'm not reading it. It's not in my face. And she mumbles something and then says, can I see it? Can I see it? And the cop's like, do not touch. And Karen says, turn it to me. Can I see it? She's referring to the computer. And the cop is like, it's literally, and he says something like it's in place because the background noise from her moving the handcuffs on the table, and it keeps making a lot of noise. I couldn't really understand it, but I'm pretty sure he's pretty much saying that he can't move the laptop. And Karen's like, no, I mean, I wanted to record this. I just had my cataracts replaced. I'm 60 years old and I'm rich as fuck. So what's your point? And the cop in the background of her saying that whole conversation is just like, everything is on the form. Karen's like, can you stop all that? The cop's like, I have to play it. Karen's like, you can, but I can't hear it. And I say that, and the cop's like, stop talking, and you can hear it. Karen's like, you hear me? No, I wouldn't talk to me like that, sir. Thank you very much. Like what, Karen? What is he talking to you like? Maybe you should realize how you have been talking to these officers and realize you are rude as fuck and been throwing your status in their face literally the entire time. You are acting like who the fuck you are and what you should just be able to just walk away and go home after you were drinking and driving and hit things till a goddamn tree stopped you. Again, she has no idea how lucky she is that she didn't kill herself or anyone else. Like, what the hell does she think? She got behind the wheel and drove drunk. No one made her do this. But yet, she thinks that she can just go home. Or that, like, she's 60-something years old and she knows better. And she has had one previous DUI. So it's like, you should have known better not to get behind the wheel after drinking. Point blank, period. She's really getting me mad. But let's keep going. Karen says, but I say to this recording, I can't hear it, sir. Thank you. And at this point, it's like, why can't you just shut the fuck up and listen? And maybe she doesn't get it that, like, it's not her cataracts that have anything to do with this. She just needs the ability to listen. Anyways, the cop cuts her off and says, so I can turn it up and start over if you want. And Karen's like, so do you want to tell me what it's saying? That's the whole point of the computer reading it out to you, is so that you can understand what it's saying. Now the cop is pointing at the paper and saying, it's saying everything that's on this form. And Karen's like, well, I can't read it. And I have an attorney, so I need a moment for an attorney. And the cop is like, do you know which attorney you want to talk to? Karen's like, yes. Can I get my phone back? And he's like, I don't have it. Your husband has. And Karen cuts him off. And she's just like, I have several attorneys. And he's like, do you have the name? I can Google it and get you a contact number. And Karen's just like, can I get my phone back? And the cop's like, I don't have your phone. Your husband has it. And Karen's like, I know. Well, if you know, why do you keep asking him for your phone? Anyways, the cop's then like, so I cannot give you your phone because your husband has it. And Karen's like, I have attorneys. And can I get my phone back? And the cop again is like, I do not have your phone. Karen's like, well, so I don't have an answer for you yet. And the cop's like, okay. And she continues, but I will report back accordingly. I think that's important. And the cop's like, okay. And Karen's like, and your point? And then the other cop chimes in, asking her, do you know your attorney's name? And Karen's like, I did. The other cop's like, okay, what's your attorney's name? Karen's like, I have several attorneys. I have 3. I don't know which one to appoint, sir. The other cop's like, give us, and she cuts him off, of course. And she's like, why don't you tell me? And the other cop's like, I don't know who's your attorney. Karen's just like, thank you. So are we okay? And the cop's like, yeah, we are. And she's like, thank you. And then the cop says, do you want me to play you the form again? And Karen's like, no, I'm good. And the cop's like, I have to at least get you through this once. And she's like, oh, you did, sweetie. And he's like, no, we started it over because you said it wasn't loud enough, all right? And she's like, you can start it again. And the cop's just like, all right. Now this is where the form starts to be read through again on the computer, and not even the title is done being read before Karen chimes in yet again, saying, do you do this to dumb people? They agree? That's how you do it? And this is where the body cam cuts to another point in the process. Maybe she stopped talking and finally just listened to it. I don't know. But all this to get where we are. So let's see what happens now.
Certification. I, the undersigned police officer, certify under the penalties of perjury that I have advised the driver of the above stated rights and sanctions and have provided the driver with the aforementioned advice in English and Spanish. Read before signing. I, the undersigned driver, acknowledge that I have been read or I have read the above stated advice of rights as certified by the police officer. I understand that this requested test is in addition to any preliminary tests that were taken. Having been so advised, do you now agree to submit to a test? Officer check driver's reply. Yes. Agree to submit to an alcohol concentration test? Yes. Agree to submit to a test for drug or controlled dangerous substance CDS? No. Alcohol concentration test? Refuse no. Drug or CDS test? Refuse DRE must complete and submit DRE certification form.
All right, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Yeah?
How are you speaking to her?
No, in my mind.
Okay.
I'm rehearsing.
So the form has been completed on the audio, and I know you really didn't.
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
Do you have any questions?
No, I'm not sorry.
All right. Do you want to take an alcohol concentration test by giving birth?
No, I do not. Can you hear me? So when I say no, I cannot. I hear being very brave. What does that mean? And don't intimidate me.
What do you mean? What does it mean? Do you want to sign this form saying you refuse to submit to an alcohol concentration test?
Tell me what that means.
That you're not going to provide a sample of your breath.
And then how long do I have to stay?
Stay? We're probably talking about another 25, 30 minutes.
I don't.
Sign that.
Here?
Yeah, right here. Right there. That's fine. Yeah. Alright.
Let me go.
In like 25 minutes.
I'm irritated. I'm extremely intelligent. I'm in Potomac.
What?
I'm in Potomac. That's not true. Yeah, right. You update me. I'm a Potomac Housewives. I'm Bravo. 10918. I do have it. You want it?
Huh?
I just didn't update it in the pandemic. What's your name again? So we can get personal.
I told you it's Kyle like 5 times now.
Kyle, I really don't remember names. I don't like
remember anything tonight.
No, honestly, I don't like men a lot.
You don't like men?
No. I'm not gay. It's, I've been free a long time and very rich a long time. And I just don't need a man. I prefer a man. So, by the way, Karen Heaver, not 10918. You have it?
What?
Current education. I'm gonna check here again. He's my husband. I absolutely love him, by the way. I do not give a flying fuck. They already know. 10918. He did not.
Thank you.
She fucked her up on so many levels. She's so dumb. I'm really smart, but I'm the Bravo housewife. Can you let me go? Like 1 second early. Can you just let me
we'll
go?
do it 1 second early on my time.
What does that mean? This hurts though. You latch me to a table and play plantation up front.
What?
Yeah. You know you latch me to a table, right? Like a hooker. Don't you have a hooker?
Police department's policy.
I'm not a police.
I am a policeman. You are under arrest. So
I am not under arrest.
you are.
I am not. You can fuck yourself. But what you're going to do is thank me for this. You know who you arrested?
You've told me.
Oh, I don't even know sometimes.
You don't know who you are sometimes?
So we finally got to the last part of this body cam, and it starts off with the form being read through the computer, and Karen actually is being quiet. She looks like she may be taking a bit of a on and off again nap, and she begins to start moving around and possibly even saying something, but whatever she is saying, it's not anything we can hear or understand. I had maybe listened to that part, I'm not even joking, like 30-something times just to try to figure out what she's mumbling, but there's no way of understanding. And then even at one point, at like towards the end of this little her being quiet period, she opens up her eyes very wide and like looks around like, whoa, wait a second. But she starts with her mumbling, and she says something to the point of, I'm not doing this, but I think it's important that I can hear it. So sue the Attorney General. Good. I'm good. I'm in the right place. Lots of mumbles that we can't understand, and then it's bullshit. And the cop's like, all right, ma'am. And Karen's like, I'm sorry, I'm talking to my husband. The husband that's not even in the room. And the cop even asked her, how are you speaking to him? And she's like, in my mind. I was dying when I heard that part. And the cop's like, okay. And then she's like, no, I'm rehearsing. So Karen, do you rehearse all the scenes on Real Housewives of Potomac? Do you rehearse what you're going to do with the girls? Do you rehearse how you're going to come at somebody on the show? Now I'm curious. Anyways, no more conspiracy theories. I said this how long ago? But it's fun to think about these things. So the cop's like, all right, so the form has been completed. On the audio, I need you really, I know you really didn't pay attention. And she's like, I'm fine. And then the cop's like, do you have any questions? And she's like, nope, I'm not signing anything. And he's like, do you want to take an alcohol concentrate test by giving the rest? And Karen cuts him off. She's like, nope, I do not. Can you hear me? And things get very quiet. And then Karen's like, so when I said no, I do not, I'm being very brave. What's that mean? And don't intimidate me. When did he ever intimidate you, honey? I swear it's just her drunkenness. But hey, maybe this is how people treat her. Here we go with the conspiracy theories again. Like, that she feels like people intimidate her, or I don't know. Anyways, the cop's then like, what do you mean? What's that mean? And then he's like, do you want to sign this form saying you refuse to submit to an alcohol concentrate test? And Karen's like, tell me what that means. You tell us what you've been meaning this whole time, girl. And the cop's then like, that you're going to not provide a sample of your breath. And Karen's like, and then how long do I have to stay? And he's like, stay? You're probably talking about another 25, 30 minutes. And Karen starts to move her hand to grab the pen to sign. And she's like, okay, I don't. And then she's like, right here? Right here? Do I sign here? And the cop shows her where to sign. He's like, here, yeah, right there. That's fine. And she's like, all right, can you let me go? And he's like, in like 25 minutes. And Karen's just like, ugh, I'm irritated. I'm extremely intelligent, okay? I'm irritated. What part in Potomac? And the cop's like, what? And she's like, I'm Potomac? And that's when the radio is now going off, and we can hear the dispatcher say, driver's license, Karen. And then we can't really hear the rest because it gets very quiet, like off to the distance. He might have like stepped away so she couldn't really hear what the dispatcher was saying. But Karen can clearly hear the dispatcher, though we can't, yet she couldn't hear the form that was so fucking loud, dude. And she's like, that's not true. Get it right. Can you uncuff me? I'm a Potomac housewife on Bravo 10913 18. I'm saying it wrong now. 10918. She said that like 8 times too. And then, not at that part though, but then the cop goes, she doesn't have a driver's license. And Karen's like, I do have it. You want it? And the cop's like, huh? Because he's not talking to her. He's talking to the dispatch lady. And she's like, I just didn't update it in the pandemic. What's your name again? So we can get personal. What do you mean by getting personal with the cop? And he's already told you his name. And that's what he says to her. I told you, Kyle, already like 5 times now. And she's like, Kyle, I don't really remember. Yeah, we know. And he knows that too, because he's like, you don't remember anything tonight. And then she's like, I don't like man a lot. And he's like, you don't like men? And she's like, nope. And I'm not gay. I'm pretty long time. Very rich. Long time. And I just don't need a man. I prefer a man. So, by the way, and then she slams her hand on the table and it's so freaking loud. She's like, Karen Hugger, not 10919. You have it? And the cop's like, what? She's like, the current address. So she's admitting to one of the things that she was actually charged with, which was not updating the current address that she has. And she admits it right there. And she's like, after that, she's like, I'm going to take care again. He's my husband. I actually going to love, by the way. I do not give a flying fuck. They already, and then we hear the dispatcher say, Maryland. We have, and then Karen's like, 10918. And the radio goes off again and says she had an expired one back in 2021. Uh-oh, Karen. And she's like, I did not. And the cop's just like, thank you, when she's talking to the dispatcher. And she's like, on so many levels, so dumb. I'm really smart, but you don't know I'm a Bravo housewife? Can you let me go? Karen, you gotta realize, not a lot of people, especially men that work really hard jobs like a police officer, don't have time to watch TV, let alone might be interested in Bravo. I know my boyfriend does not like watching The Real Housewives of anything, but he has to because usually I'm watching it. But more than like 90% of the time, he's on his little phone or tablet and he's watching his podcasts and whatever else he watches. And then every now and again, he'll like chime in and be like, what the hell's going on that show? Because, as we know, crazy shit happens on these shows all the time and it catches the eye. But he doesn't need to know who you are. No one actually needs to know who you are. And if they don't watch Bravo, they're not going to know who you are. I can go ask my gram right now. Do you know who Karen Hugger from The Real Housewives of Potomac is? And she's going to be like, what the hell is The Real Housewives of Potomac? Because she doesn't even know. But anyways. The cop's like, 1 second. And she's like, can you do it 1 second early? Can you just let me go? And he is now just fed up at this point. You can hear it in his voice. He's like, I can do it 1 second early on my time. And Karen's like, what does that mean? This hurts though. You locked me to the table and play faction up front? And he's just like, what? I'm like, what? Because I don't even know what the hell she means. And then she's like, you know, you locked me to the table like a hooker. And the cop is just like, and she cuts him off. You don't have a hooker? And he finishes his little sentence by saying, police department's policy. Yes, it's the police department's policy to have one hand locked to the table so you cannot run, break out of the jail room, whatever you are in, and just leave. Or, you know, get up and attack the police officer, or get up and touch the computer, or any of that shit. Like, that is why you are locked to the table. It's not because you're locked to the table like a hooker. You're locked to the table because it's protocol. And then she's just like, but I'm not a policeman. He's like, no, I'm a policeman, and you are under arrest. And she's like, I'm not under arrest. And he's like, you are. And she's like, I'm not. You can fuck yourself. What are you going to do thank me? What? I think she's like, what you're going to do is thank me. But it really is so mumbled at that point. And apparently she thinks that the cop is going to thank her for this whole incident. I think you might need to apologize to the cop more than him thanking you for all of this. But I digress. And he's like, you've told me. And she's like, I don't even know sometimes. And he's like, you don't even know who you are sometimes? And that is the end of the body cam footage. Now, I did read that, like, there was actually, like, an hour of all of this body cam footage, and we really only got, like, 30-ish minutes of it, maybe a little longer. So there was a lot of parts that we missed, and I'm so curious now to see those parts that we missed. And it might be something that we could request, though, because she is, like, a Real Housewife of Potomac, and she might have it so that way, like, the public can't get all of that. There are ways around it. We might not be able to get all the body cam, and they do cut a lot of body cam footage parts out, or they mute the sound, usually, because usually has like important information that the public does not need to hear, or they don't want out to the public, or whatever the case may be. But they didn't even do it with this. And honestly, this is Fox 5's version of the body cam, and they were like really the only one that had the whole body cam in full instead of like in parts like a lot of other people had. There are a lot of other people that have it in just parts and then put the parts together. This was the biggest, longest, fullest body cam of Karen Huggers that I could find. Now, before we go, I do want to go over a couple little things real quick. Like, I know that she had filed paperwork in July to suppress statements and evidence from this DUI arrest because she was claiming that she was incriminating herself during a custodial interrogation without being read her Miranda rights, which I kind of talked about along when we were looking at the body cam. I know that's something that her lawyer did go after, and I personally did not hear anywhere in this body cam them read her Miranda rights. That could have been something that was cut out. I mean, usually that's something they don't want to be cut out because usually people get read their Miranda rights. I'm not sure if that's just something they didn't do because of the circumstances and just like being done and irritated with her at the point that they just needed to take her down to the station, or if that's part of them reading her rights in the station that they cut off that we didn't get to see, whatever the case may be. And as I said before, this is not Karen's first DUI. She was arrested on similar charges 10 years earlier for also driving home intoxicated after dinner. And during that arrest, she had said, I pulled over, and technically she said she wasn't driving, though you had to pull over, so you were driving before that point to be able to pull over. But she says, I was pulled over into a parking area where you should not park. I turned off the car. I called my husband. However, the teddy bear cops found me first, and I collected my DUI, and she pled guilty and received probation at that point. She is also not the only Real Housewives of Potomac that has been in trouble before with the law. We have Candace Dillard and Monique Samuels, who both faced assault charges after Monique allegedly grabbed Candace by the hair and pulled her down. That was filmed during season 5 of the Real Housewives of Potomac. And Monique actually was charged with second-degree assault after her co-star filed a complaint with the district court. And then Monique later took legal action of her own, and Candace also faced second-degree assault charges, but they were all dismissed. Ashley and her husband, Michael Darby, at the time, were charged with felony assault after alleged incident on the set of a Bravo show. And according to TMZ, the Australian was charged with felony assault and improper sexual contact for allegedly grabbing and groping the buttocks of one of the show's crew members. And ultimately, that was also dismissed in court, and the charges had no sufficient evidence for them to proceed with charging him. And Michael has said, too, that the fact that the production company appears to endorse his actions by splicing together disconnected and unrelated events in order to also profit is really scary for people in his position. And as we all know, too, Real Housewives of Orange County, Shannon Boudreaux, she was also drunk driving in 2023, and she ended up getting sentenced to 3 years of probation, 40 hours of community service, and it ended up being like she had to do 50 hours of community service, attend 2 AA meetings per week, not possess or consume alcohol or any illegal drugs, and attend a victim impact class by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. We also have the Real Housewives of Miami star Marcel Patton, who was arrested on suspicion of DUI in January of 2010. And she managed to strike a deal with the prosecutors after pleading to contest to a lesser charge of reckless driving, and that was to avoid jail time. Now, I did find something very interesting, and it was, again, Fox 5. Thank you, Fox 5. They're not even my Fox channel. They had a defense attorney on to talk about this and why Karen did not just take a plea deal, and how she really is looking at 2 years in jail because she had a jury of the people convict her on these charges. Why she took it as far as she did can result now in the judge making sure she has a harsher sentence because she pled not guilty and was found guilty. And just because she thinks she is some celebrity, she thinks that she can get away with this, that she is above the law. And I want to play you this clip because he is just saying everything that I was literally thinking the entire time. So, before we go, let's take a look at this.
Let's move on to closer to home for us right here in the DMV, and this surrounds the Real Housewives of Potomac star Karen Huger, found guilty yesterday on 5 out of 6 charges stemming from a March car crash in Potomac, Maryland. She now faces up to 2 years in the slammer after being convicted of a DUI. Brian, I have a plethora of questions here, and I guess the first one is, why would she not take a plea deal prior to this actually, let's say, going before a jury?
You know, that is a good question. I have no idea why she would not do that. I don't want to say arrogance. I don't want to say that she may think that she's above the law. I mean, you know, you got real celebrities out there, I say that jokingly, but that plead guilty and recognize they've done something wrong and will plead guilty. But to try to deny what's obviously a DUI was really silly for her. And the real problem that she's going to have now is that when you go to trial and you lose, the judge is going to sentence you more harshly than if you accept a responsibility. So she could actually be looking at some jail time here, where the plea deal she most likely would not have been.
Wow. And so with that being said, as an attorney, would that fault lie on the attorney to yet again to say, hey, Karen, you know, we're gonna take this forward?
You know, it does not fall on the attorney. It's the client's choice of whether or not they want to proceed to trial. The lawyer just advises them. It's the client's choice. Obviously, she wanted to proceed with trial. I mean, obviously thought that she may have been tricked herself into believing that she was an actual actress and that she could fool the jury by telling this story about how someone ran her off the road, this mystery car, even though there was no evidence of that, no skid marks or anything like that indicating such. So maybe she thought that she was an actual actress and that she could fool them. Didn't work out.
Yeah, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but yet again, I mean, we have now been made privy to the video that that Fox 5 exclusively has, and we see how that all played out. If I happen to be her attorney, I watched that. Yet again, I would say, you know what, I don't necessarily know if this is the best route.
I'm sure her attorney did say that. I'm sure he sat her down and played and watched the video with her and said, hey, these are the hurdles that we're going to have to overcome. And this is the negative consequences that could happen to you if we lose. And obviously she chose to go forward. She went forward. She paid the additional retainers fees and paid the cost for trial. So it's obviously something that she wanted to do.
In all fairness, we know that she has been really emotionally distressed as of late. And so a part of the testimony on her behalf happened to be her cousin who testified and said that, well, she did not sound impaired when they spoke on the phone shortly before the crash. So found guilty. To your point, you're saying the judge might not be as lenient, but when you hear a story like that, when you know from an emotional standpoint that she's been dealing with things, would the judge actually take that into consideration?
Probably not. This is life. Everyone deals with things, you know, deaths, life struggles, and most people deal with financial struggles, which she's probably not dealing with. So she has one up on the average individual. And don't forget, a judge stands in court all day, every day, and sees defendants stand in front of him with a lot more life problems than she has. And so it's unlikely that he's going to be very sympathetic to her.
Wow. Yet again, just truly amazing how all of this unfolded. And so with that, I know you can't predict the future. You don't have a crystal ball in front of you. But from your experience, we know she faces up to 24 months, 2 years behind bars. Yet again, likely to receive that entire sentence or perhaps half of that.
Very unlikely that she'll receive the max. But could the judge throw her in jail for 30, 60, 90 days just to teach her a lesson and to make her an example out of her? Absolutely.
Wow. Truly, truly amazing.
Now, this defense attorney makes really, really solid points here. I know he can't really say that she's arrogant, but she definitely came off that way in the body cam. And I'm not going to lie, even when I watched the show, this is my opinion, she does come off kind of arrogant as well. I also feel like she thinks that she is above the law because the entire body cam, she mentioned just like, you don't know who I am? I'm rich. I'm intelligent. Like, all of that is arrogant. She thinks she's above the law. She wanted to leave over and over and over again. She begged to leave. How long is this going to take? And she even said, like, you're going to be thanking me for this. That's arrogant, and that's feeling like she's above the law. And maybe the judge will take that all into consideration. And he's also right. Like, the judge is not going to care that she has things going on in her life. We all have things going on in our life. That being said, she could be made an example of. I don't believe she's going to get the max 2 years, but it is possible. It is something that can happen. Most of the time, they usually cut it in half anyways, but she is probably looking at definitely some jail time. And I think that she should have took that into consideration before going into a jury trial. And again, it's not on her attorney. He is just there to advise her. He was absolutely right about that as well. He cannot make her do anything that she doesn't want. He can only say, this is what's best for you. This is how I feel. This is what I think you should do. And it's really up to her what she wants to do. It's her case, not the attorney's. So why she didn't take a plea deal, I don't know. We don't even know if there was a plea deal put on the table. I'm assuming that there is, because most of the time there is a plea deal that's put on the table, but we don't know if they even offered her a plea deal. So we are just going to have to wait and see on January 29th to find out what exactly the judge is going to sentence her to. What do you guys think? I want to know your opinions, your thoughts, how you felt about this. Let me know down below in the comments. I also want to say Happy New Year. We have a lot of wonderful things coming in 2025. I am going to start for my members. So if you're not a member, maybe consider becoming a member. I'm going to be doing the Stassi Schroeder book read of her latest book. And I will be going through each chapter, and then we will do lives where we can discuss each chapter. Those will not be members only, the lives, but the book chapters where I read it will be members only. So if you don't have the book and you want to listen to the chapters, kind of like an audiobook, I know I don't really have the best voice, but I will try my hardest for you all. I will be reading that for you. Also, me and my boyfriend, I know he's never really been on my channel, and I've been here for quite a while, but he got me into this story, and I have done so much investigation work behind it because I was so intrigued by it. But this happened like even 2018, I believe it was. It was a guy that stole an airplane in Washington State, and he took it on a little joyride before crashing it. And it was just so intriguing because I live by an airport. I'm literally like a half a football field away from the runway. And I just find it very interesting how this man who worked at the airport was able to get in an airplane that he's never actually flown an airplane, put that thing up in the air, went around a couple mountains before crashing it, which was his ultimate plan. But he also does like a full barrel roll, a full loop, like a huge freaking loop. We're gonna watch it all. My boyfriend's gonna be here to give his thoughts and opinions with me, and it's going to be done on a live. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. I know that's something different here on my channel, but anything that I kind of find interesting, I'm going to put here on my channel because I know that if I find something interesting, you all will also find it interesting. I also will be covering other Bravo shows. I do want to cover the new Vanderpump Rules cast and everything going on there. I still will be covering all of the old Vanderpump Rules castmates and what's going on in their lives, so we can kind of have an update of what's going on and all of that great stuff. But before we go, because yesterday this came out and I wanted to also bring this to you as a reactions, Oh, another Real Housewife who is very arrogant, and it shows in this video, was at a Jersey Mike's, and she thought that people know who she is as well. And she kind of was very rude to the workers, and the worker actually clapped back after, well, the Real Housewife posted 2 videos, and then the worker then posted her version of events. So, before we end this, let's take a look at Miss Real Housewife of New Jersey's Jennifer Aydin and what she did yesterday with the Jersey Mike's employees. Ooh, let's take a look, guys.
Okay, so we're like so mad right now. We were online for Jersey Mike's for like what felt like forever. Yes. And then finally when it came time to taking our order, they took our order. And then they took the lady's order that was after me, but they fulfilled her order first somehow, made us wait. Okay, whatever. And the 80-year-old that was working there, I mean, the amount of time she took to cut that bread was almost as much as we were waiting on that line. Geez.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my God, everything was slow, so we're not complaining. We get it. It's early in the morning. You're in a bad mood. It's New Year's. You're working. I'd be pissed too.
No, and I'm talking, and Jen's like, I don't think she can hear you, babe.
Yeah, no, she couldn't hear.
And she's like, no, I heard you. And,
right.
Just like,
and then whatever, she fulfilled the woman after us first. And then when we were like, where's our order? She's like, you have to wait your turn. I was like, but we were in front of her. And then she was like, oh, okay, whatever. So as she's making my sandwich, I add a tuna sandwich for Jacob. And she's like, you're going to sandwich. I add a tuna sandwich for Jacob. And she's like, you're going to have to wait online again. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then I asked the guy behind me, do you care if I just add a turkey sandwich for my son? He's like, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous.
And the whole time he's thinking it's ridiculous that they're asking her to add another sandwich to the order, which shouldn't have been a big deal to begin with.
Yeah, no, he was being a hater. He thought it was ridiculous that I was adding another sandwich because he knew it was going to take another 10 hours to fulfill and he was going to have to wait longer. And he was a freaking jerk. So I started recording them. I started recording the girls, what they were doing, and they turned around and he's like, you put that, I'm going to sue you with you and your fake diamonds. Fake diamonds, bitch. But you don't know? You better ask somebody.
That's crazy.
Please, that loser. Find me, asshole.
Okay, let's go over a few things before we go on to the video that she recorded while in Jersey Mike's. Now, Jen says that they took her order, then they took the lady behind her's order, but they fulfilled the lady behind her's order first, which was no big deal, but clearly it is, because you mentioned it. Then she talks about the 80-year-old person that was working there and the amount of time it took her to cut the bread, and it was like the whole time that they were waiting in line and everything was just slow, but they were not complaining. Though they are complaining, because if they weren't complaining, there would be no reason to have made this video, right? That's what I'm thinking. She also says that she gets it's early, you know, people are in a bad mood, it's New Year's, they're working, and she would be pissed too. So then you should have some compassion for them and understand it's a long line, it's going to take some time, and they're just moving as fast as they possibly can to get these orders out the door. But that's not what she's thinking, clearly. And her friend then chimes in and says she thought the lady couldn't hear, but she did respond to her, so the lady actually could hear. And again, Jen mentions about the lady behind her's order getting fulfilled first before hers, which, you know, it's no big deal, but clearly it is. And she also then talks about how they said to her that she had to wait her turn when she asked, well, where is my order? And that she was in front of that lady, and that lady just got her order fulfilled, so where's hers? And it's like, oh, gosh, okay. Maybe there's a reason why. Oh, we'll find out. But then Jen adds that she wanted to add, she first said, a tuna sandwich for her son Jacob, and the worker told her that she needed to wait in line again, and Jen thought that was just goddamn ridiculous. Her friend claimed that it, took 40 minutes already just to have all of this happen, and Jen was just floored. She was shocked that she would have to wait in line again for another sandwich. Now, though, it's a turkey sandwich for her son. So Jen then proceeds to ask the guy behind her if it's okay that she added a turkey sandwich for her son. And the guy was like, well, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, which maybe it is. I don't know exactly what Jersey Mike's they're in. It kind of looks like they're walking through an airport. And if anyone's ever been to like a really big airport, and this is me assuming that they're at an airport because I really don't know where they are. But if they are at an airport, even a mall where there's a lot of people, sometimes it can take forever, especially if there's long lines. Even at the casino, when you're getting food, sometimes there are long lines that you're going to have to wait in. It's just the facts of life. Now, the whole time her friend is also thinking. It's more like assuming. And when you assume something, you're making an ass out of yourself, in my opinion. But she's assuming that the guy behind her was thinking that it was ridiculous that they were asking her to wait in line again to add another sandwich. And it should have been no big deal to begin with, but he wasn't too happy either. And Jen then just goes off calling this man a hater, and that she found it ridiculous that she was even asking him that if she can add a sandwich, and he knew that it was going to take another 10 hours to fulfill it, and he didn't want to wait, again assuming, and it didn't take 10 hours, honey, like maybe tops like another 10-20 minutes. I don't really believe that it was as long as they're saying it was, because clearly she's exaggerating here how long it would take to make another sandwich. Get my point? She also calls him a freaking jerk. And that's when Jen said she started to record the girls and what they were doing. And now the man behind her again was like, I'm going to sue you if you put this online, kind of a thing. You and your fake diamonds. Apparently that's what he said. I don't know. We'll find out though. And Jen, with her arrogance, was like, you better ask somebody. Like, she thinks who the fuck she is. Just kind of like what we saw with Karen. She also then calls the man a loser and tells him to find me, and then calls him an asshole before the video ends. Now, let's move on to her recording at Jersey Mike's as this all is happening.
Thank you so much, sir. This guy was being super nice. Thank you so much.
Oh no, he said I couldn't get my sandwich, babe. He said it was ridiculous for me to get the sandwich for my son. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he meant it was ridiculous for them to ask you.
No, he was reading.
I'm a law professor. You put any of that online, I'm going to sue your
That's okay.
piece of fake jewelry.
That's okay.
Take it easy, buddy. Law professor or not.
Law professor. You're just another citizen, okay? I don't care. My husband's a medical doctor, okay? Asshole. And all my shit is real. I am a fucking celebrity, you asshole.
Let's go.
Thank you, sweetheart. Asshole.
Well, damn, we get a whole different perspective. Now, she originally is recording the people working, though we kind of see what they're doing, but it seems like it's more about the interaction that she has with this guy. So this video opens up with her friend thanking the guy behind him, which Jen's like, oh no, he said I couldn't get my sandwich, babe. He said it was ridiculous for me to get the sandwich for my son. And the man says, it is ridiculous. And the friend's like, oh. And the whole time the man's like, yeah. And Jen is like, no. And her friend's like, oh, I thought he meant it was ridiculous they asked you to wait in line again. That's her assuming. And then the man says, by the way, I'm a law professor, and if you put any of that online, I'm going to sue you for every little piece of fake jewelry you have on. He's kind of like joking when he says this, but that's just my interpretation of it. And Jen, the whole time as he's saying this, is just going, that's okay. That's okay. And then we hear somebody else, it's another man, and the man is just like, take it easy there, buddy. Law professor or not, you're just another citizen. Which Jen is like repeating that man, and she's just saying, law professor, as she's now filming the guy. And then she repeats that, you're just another citizen. And that other man then says, you're not going to impress people with that law degree. And Jen chimes in and is like, okay, my husband's a medical doctor, okay, asshole, and all my shit is real. Now, there is another lady, this is not her friend, she chimes in and she says she's a celebrity, for God's sakes. And of course, you know, Jen, thinking who the fuck she is like, I am a fucking celebrity, you asshole. So what does that mean? Because you're a celebrity, you should get special treatment? I don't think so. I thought we were all just another citizen here. But, you know, Jen then, someone tells Jen, let's go. And Jen's like, thank you, sweetheart. I don't know if she was talking to the girl that called her a celebrity, but that's what it seems like. And as she's walking away, she calls the man an asshole again. To me, this was more about the interaction that she had with the guy behind her, more than the workers. But clearly, she was fed up with the workers and what the workers were saying and doing to her, that this now turned into everybody else having their opinion, which she didn't like the other guy's opinion, and his response to saying, like, it is kind of ridiculous that you're asking to add a sandwich on now after you already ordered, kind of a thing. Okay, let's hear though what the worker has to say regarding all of this.
I really hope this stupid bitch has TikTok. I really hope I come up on your For You page, bitch. I hope you recognize me. It's not even 12 fucking hours into the new year, okay? It was approximately like 7 in the fucking morning. This lady's putting in her orders. This bitch doesn't know what she wants. She's over here ordering like 4 different sandwiches, changing the bread last minute, and we're doing it for her, right? But then it gets to a point where she does it so much that we're like, all right, man, if you want to like order another sandwich, you're gonna have to get back in line because you're backing up the entire line. She has people coming up to her, telling her what they want to order, and then she like, oh, can I also get this? Like, girl, that's not how that works, okay? That's like waiting in the bank and then somebody cuts you because their friend is there. So we tell her no, and she starts tweaking. She's like, I'm a celebrity, I'm gonna sue you guys. And she starts recording all of us, and she posts it. Oh, it's fun. Learn how to order.
Well, holy moly, did we get a different perspective from the worker. Now, the worker starts off by saying she wanted to like kind of clear up, because Jen was like, you know, how about it's the new year, it's in the morning, yada yada yada. So she's like, it's not even 12 hours into the new year. It was approximately 7 a.m. 7 a.m.? Who gets subs at 7 a.m.? That just seems crazy to me. I mean, at 7 a.m., I need my damn coffee. You can't talk to me until I have my coffee. And I'm not really much of a breakfast person. And I don't think I would really want a sub at 7 o'clock in the morning. But that's just me. We don't know where they're going, if they're going to eat it later kind of thing. All of that. Like, we can't assume. We just know that they were getting subs at this time. Now, she says that the lady puts in her order. She doesn't even know what she wants. She's over here ordering 4 different sandwiches, changing the bread at the last minute, and they're doing what she wants. But it gets to a point that she is doing so much that they have to tell her if she wants to order another sandwich, she has to go to the back of the line, because it's now backing up the entire line. And then I guess she has people coming up to her, telling her what they want to order, and Jen is then just going, can I also get this, kind of a thing? That's how it seems. And she's like, that's just not how it works. It's like you waiting at the bank and then somebody cuts you because your friend is there. And that is a very good analogy. And that's kind of what it seemed like from what this lady is saying, of course. And they tell her no. And that's when Jen starts tweaking and is going like, I'm a celebrity. I'm going to sue you guys. All of that. And then that's when she starts recording everybody and then posts that. So we clearly, which we figured we missed a lot before that point because Jen had a lot to say before she started recording. But clearly there was a lot more that happened before this point of Jen recording. And then it seems like that the guy behind her was kind of irritated that all of this was happening, and he said what he said because he was at the point too of irritation of waiting in line and then having this lady keep changing her order, changing the bread, adding stuff in, all of that. Like they say, there's always 3 sides to a story. Yours, mine, and somewhere in the middle. And to me, somewhere in the middle is that Jen was not sure what she was ordering. She was adding she was getting multiple sandwiches from multiple people. People were coming up to her wanting to add another sandwich. She was changing the bread. It was getting frustrating for these workers. It was then backing up the line, which was also frustrating the other people behind her. And it then turned into what we saw during the recording, which was people irritated, but then also people sticking up for her that she was a celebrity. What do you guys think? That's the real question. What do you guys think about all of this? To me, it seems like Jen was probably not recording her tweak out session and screaming that she was a celebrity and all of that because that would make her look bad. So then when she did start recording, she, of course, cooled their jets a little bit and let it all just play out the way it did. So we saw it from that perspective, but we didn't see it from what happened from the very beginning, which can change the whole perspective of things. And when somebody knows that they're recording, they can totally change how their response is, especially someone, that's a real housewife and maybe has a little bit of acting ability or just knows how to change up the situation when they know the cameras are on, kind of a thing. But that's just my opinion. I want to know what you guys think. I love hearing what you all have to say. Oh man, I wonder if anyone's going to get sued here. I guess we'll have to wait to see. We'll have to wait to see if Jen sues Jersey Mike's, and we'll have to wait to see if this man that was behind her decides to sue her. It'll be like a whole sue fest for 2025. And hey, I love lawsuits. As long as they're not against me, I love a good lawsuit. I love going over a good lawsuit. I love going over all the evidence and then some. And I hope that you guys do too, because this might be just a little bit more of what I want to put out here too, because I totally enjoy it. I know we have the Vanderpump lawsuit that's going to be coming up with Ariana, Tom, and Rachel. So that's going to be coming out this year, and we will see if it actually goes to a trial or to even like the depositions, all of that, because at this point they're still kind of what I call like negotiation terms, where the lawyers are going back and forth, and it's not actually like it's in the court, but they have time before they actually have a trial, and it gets tried before a judge or a jury and all of that. So that will be coming up this year. We will see about Lisa Vanderpump's lawsuit with her workers. We got a lot. So I definitely will be covering that, and I definitely will be covering what happens to Karen and her DUI and her sentencing and all of that. So I hope you all look forward to that, as well as all of the other amazing stuff that I have coming out for you guys. Make sure, though, if you are not yet subscribed, to subscribe here to my channel, and you want to put your notifications to all so you can get notified every time I post a video or go live. And please, please, it costs nothing to press that like button, and it really does help me here on my channel, and I appreciate it so very much. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you all had a great new year. I hope you all have your goals set and are ready to have a wonderful 2025 here with me on my channel, because I'm looking forward to bringing you all the amazing things that I have planned and so much more. All right, guys, keep shining bright. Don't be a Karen, literally. And have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.